Welcome to Motorcycle Hang Time with Chris Klotz, attorney at Stevenson Klotz Injury Lawyers. We invite you to hang with us as we talk about the local motorcycle scene, safety issues, and motorcycle law. And now, here's your fellow motorcycle rider and enthusiast and host.
Hey everybody, welcome to Motorcycle Hang Time. This is Chris Klotz with the Stevenson Klotz Injury Firm here in Pensacola, Florida. We also have offices in Mobile, Alabama. And we are here with Jaynie Seiber. How you doing today, Jaynie?
Hi, Chris. I'm excellent. How are you doing today?
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on our podcast. We've got so much stuff to talk about. I'm super excited. I know you've got a lot going on at Harley Davidson, but just tell everybody out there in motorcycle world where you work in and a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right. So like you said, my name is Jaynie. I work at Pensacola Harley Davidson. I'm the marketing director here, in charge of the promotions, the advertising, the events, snacks, important stuff.
And just about darn near everything else that needs to be done around there. Isn't that the truth?
That's right. Whatever we got to do, I'm here for it.
Yeah. So how long have you been with Pensacola Harley Davidson?
So I've actually been here for like 11 years.
Holy
my
cow.
11th year. I know.
That's great.
Crazy.
That's super awesome.
It's pretty crazy. I love it. I won't go. I won't go. I won't leave.
Well, so we first got to know each other a few years ago when we started doing bike nights out there on the third Thursday of the month when it starts to get a little bit warmer. But I think actually when we started doing it, we were doing it 12 months out of the year in the freezing cold. and that changed a little bit over the last couple of years.
Yes.
But, so tell me a little bit about what is it when you're marketing for, a really thoughtful and very customer service oriented business. What are you doing? Tell me just about some of the specific things that you do.
Well, one of the big, things that we do, obviously, working with the biker community, but really we're here to sell motorcycles, but really ultimately we're all about tying in the community, tying in the biker community and doing what we can to help just promote the lifestyle, the product, and helping each other, really.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've really seen, especially with y'all's dealership here in Pensacola. And I'm sure it's like this in dealerships across the country, but y'all are super customer service oriented. And I would imagine that y'all probably spend a lot of time talking about that inside of the business, about being customer service oriented. How important is that to you guys?
It is part of our motto, is to provide a kick-ass customer experience.
Right on.
And it is all about, because it's what keeps us going is our customers.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about, so this series, we've kind of focused on people, getting to meet people that are really plugged into the biker community around in our area and just getting to know them. And you have a super interesting life story. So can we talk about your life a little bit and how you landed in Pensacola at the Harley dealership here in Pensacola? Can we talk about that? I know your dad was in the military, right? What did he do?
Correct. So my dad was he was a cook in the Navy for 28 years.
Awesome. Was he out on ships?
He was out on ships. He was in land and sea for 28 years. But so Pensacola, we lived here. We lived all over, fortunately. And then Pensacola is where he chose to retire. So we spent a lot of time, a lot of our upbringing here. And then this is where I go to high school and undergraduate school, and then moved off.
I know that you lived a ton of cool places, and we're going to come back to one of them specifically. But I know you lived in Scotland at some point. What are some of the other cool places that you lived that you really look back on with some fondness?
So let's see. So we've lived in Italy. I don't remember much of Italy. Apparently, I used to run around and speak Italian with the Italian kids when I was 2. And then we moved to Iceland, which I have just vague memories of Iceland and the big hill that we used to live in our Navy housing in a red sled, and having to bring my sister back up that hill in that damn red sled.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
I definitely want to go back. That's one place I want to go back to visit, because obviously I don't have much memories of Iceland. But then from there we moved here to Pensacola, and we lived a lot of time in Pensacola, and then moved away. We were supposed to get stationed in like Alaska, and then it didn't work out, and then it was going to be Cuba, and then it ended up being Scotland, which was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So I want to talk about that because I know that did you go over with friends and family? You just recently went over to Scotland. Tell us about that. Who all went with you and what'd you do when you were over there? That's an awesome story.
Thank you. So it's something I've been trying to do forever since after we moved. And I've always been like, after I graduate high school, I'm going to go back. After I graduate college, I'm going to go, after I graduate my master's, I'm going back. But just never had the time, the money, really do it. And we finally did it. So it was me and my sister, and then one of my coworkers, a parts service manager, and then my sister's boyfriend. And we were like, there's never going to be a good time. So let's do it. And it was incredible. It was like a dream.
What city did y'all go to?
So we flew into Edinburgh. Stayed there for a couple days, did a 12-hour bus tour in the Highlands.
Oh my God.
Was amazing. At first it was like, this is our second day after being up 24 hours traveling. We're like, are we ready to do this? But it was the best thing that we did. Was we traveled, literally had one lady that Louise was our tour guide, drove the whole entire day, talking the whole entire time and sharing history. And she was great. She had such a great personality, great spirits. And we covered so much of the Highlands. So we went all through from Edinburgh, all the way up through the Highlands, different parts of the Highlands and Glencoe, and even just a bunch of different little towns. And then to Inverness and Loch Ness. And we went on a boat tour looking for Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster.
That is so neat.
It was incredible. It was so cool. And so again, just a bunch of little towns to take us back into Edinburgh for the night. And we were able to see so much by doing that little bus trip.
When you guys lived there, were you in Edinburgh?
So then from there, we didn't. We lived in Dunoon. So after a couple days in Edinburgh, we went to Dunoon, and we were going to stay 2 nights in Dunoon. We ended up staying an extra night because we're like, this is amazing. It was as soon as we started going over the ferry and just seeing the quaint little town, it was like, oh my God, this is what we remember. Like me and my sister started getting so emotional, but it was just to see it all, and it was amazing to see. It's still so quaint, but then also a little sad because it was the military base left, shortly after we actually moved away in the early 90s. And so that took a lot of the business, the life, the livelihood. So it's sad to see a lot, little shut down, run down, but otherwise it was still like, it did not disappoint. It was like we remembered Dunoon.
I was going to ask you, did you get to see people that you had known when you lived there before? Were there still friends or, people there that you had a connection with?
So believe it or not, we, so I had one of my best friends. There's a handful of my best friends. One of them, she was like another sister, and she was always at our house and we were always at her house, and her parents still live there. She lives in England now, like 6 hours away, but her and her husband came to stay with her parents so that we were hanging out with her, went to her parents' house to have lunch, and just being there and seeing the house that, we kind of grew up in for a little bit. And it was just so much smaller. And then even going from her house, we walked from her house to our old house like we used to do. Another one of my good friends who lives in London now came and was staying with us too. So she used to also live in the naval housing. And so us just making that walk, it was unreal. And it was just so crazy to see. Everything was so small, like the hill was so tall, the walls that we remembered, the stone walls we remembered climbing up, everything was just so small, from,
right.
Being an adult. But it was amazing. And then we even managed to make a reunion happen in a week's time. And we had dinner with my old classmates, like my old boyfriend, really, boyfriend.
No way.
That used to write me love letters.
Boyfriend?
So crazy.
That's wild.
Insane. And everybody was like, nobody missed, like we didn't miss a beat. Like had been there the whole time. Personalities were still the same. The facial expressions were still the same. It was incredible. Like such a dream.
Did you get to see your old house?
Yeah, so we did. We didn't go knocking. We thought about knocking on the door, but I don't think there was anybody home. There wasn't any cars in the driveway. So of course we took a bunch of pictures. And it still all looked the same, minus there used to be a playground in the middle of the housing unit, and that was gone. But everything else, it's crazy, it looked the same. But then obviously there's stuff built up around, where there used to be woods that we used to go play in and find fox bones and stuff. That stuff was like built up, and So that was different, but it was still Dunoon, it was still just so unreal. And then after that, when we left there, we went back to Edinburgh. We flew out of Edinburgh. So we went back that way. Went to the Harley dealerships in Edinburgh and Glasgow.
I want to hear about that.
And then we stayed in a castle. We stayed in Dalhousie Castle in Edinburgh, and that was incredible experience. It was like, it was like you were able to really like you were we stayed there, and it was like you were living there. There was nothing that was closed off. Like there was a library that we were able to hang out in and pull the books and look through the books that were hundreds and hundreds of years old.
Oh my gosh.
It was, cool. I was like, you let people touch this stuff? This is allowed? People are walking away?
You don't know who we are.
Right? It was crazy. It was just the experience. We went hiking around the castle during the day and found a farm, a farmer's land. It was just being a part of all of it, and finding sheep and the hairy cows. They're little hairy cows that they have everywhere. Super cute.
I know that, obviously they speak English, but is there a difficulty understanding anybody with the heavy Scottish accent?
It took a couple of times. Sometimes somebody would say something and be like, can you repeat that? What was that? What was that? What does that mean? There's definitely some things. And you have the range, like I have friends with heavy Glasgow accents, friends with heavy London accents, heavy Dunoon even, so it did take a minute to try to understand, to take a bit, but I love it. I love the Scottish accent.
So, did you see anybody that was like a grown up, like a teacher maybe that had been influential in your life when you were a youngster or anything like that? Or has everybody kind of moved on? No.
So it's funny. There's one of our teachers, that was one of my favorite teachers. I didn't see her, but she's the neighbor to my friend, the ex-boyfriend that was, whatever, really, our friend, but she's his neighbor. His neighbor is still, I was actually in the grocery store. We were in the grocery store we stocked up on crazy Scottish snacks. And I hear someone tap me on the back of my shoulder, like, Jaynie Seiber? Is that you? Do you recognize me? I was like, what? Are you kidding
And what was
me?
that, like fifth grade? That was like your fifth grade teacher?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was a classmate of mine that I had. So it was when we were like primary 6. So that is like 5th grade. I'm like, that's right. I know people still here in Dunoon, I know people in the grocery store.
She's connected all the way around the world. Oh my gosh. So when, so my 2 sons, Max and Sam, and I went to South Africa a few years ago with
cool.
Eric and his family. And one of the things that the kids really dug was that they have crazy snacks over there, like you'd never see in the States. And they had, all kinds of probably, really unhealthy things that we're used to eating here, but just in a different way. Like they had these, I think it was some kind of Schweppes drink that was actually like a mojito in a can, but it was just like a ginger ale, but it didn't have any alcohol in it. And you can't get them in the States, but they're all made by U.S. companies. So did you see any cool stuff like that over there or bring some stuff back with you?
Iron Brew. That's the drink. Their thing is Iron Brew gets you through. It's like this orange soda, and I used to drink it as a kid. And I don't drink much soda nowadays, but of course I had to order Iron Brew everywhere we went while we were there. And I have seen it. Sometimes I'll see it like in the world markets or the world section, world market, or sometimes like even in Publix. Right. But I have to show you a picture of my carry-on luggage. I literally, the whole entire thing.
You brought back a bunch of snacks.
So we went to Black's Bakery, is the bakery in Dunoon that we love. And there was like these millionaire shortbreads, sausage rolls, all this stuff that just, that it was just crazy to bring back the memories. And you take a bite and it takes you back to being 10 again. But so I smuggled some stuff from the bakery and then candies and chips and yeah. Really cool. But they let me back in the country with all of my snacks.
That's very cool. So is this like a small town? Is it a big town? Like, I was about to say big town like Pensacola. Pensacola is not a huge town. But is it a small town or is it like a big town where you were growing up?
Yeah. So Dunoon's very small town. And it's still like very small. It's right there on the water, right on the loch. And there's a big ferry point actually right there from Glasgow, where it goes right there. So that's a major port there for the area.
That's really cool. There are almost 9 million motorcycles registered in the United States, and there are almost 5,000 motorcycle fatalities a year. That's almost 14 a day. Motorists don't do a good job looking out for motorcycles, and neither do insurance companies. Hi, I'm Chris Klotz, and as a writer and an attorney, I know that insurance companies treat motorcycle cases differently. If you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, bring your case to me to review. Let me take my writing experience and my knowledge of how to deal with insurance companies to get you the compensation that you deserve. The call and the advice during the call are free. Stevenson Klotz Injury Lawyers, bring it. So the rest of your life, I mean, you have really crammed a lot into your young years, and you've done a lot of really cool things. I know that you got a master's degree. Tell me, where were you in school for that, and tell us about your degree, because I think that's fascinating. It's a perfect degree for a marketing director, right? Isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So I went to school here at West Florida,
right,
for psychology, and then I moved up to Springfield, Massachusetts, where I proceeded to get my master's degree in forensic psychology.
And what was behind that? I mean, so I'm a psych major too. I'm a psych major, and I minored in English. I didn't get.
Are you really?
Yeah, I didn't get an advanced degree, and I know kind of what drew me to psychology. What drew you to that?
So I was always fascinated by serial killers. As
right.
morbid as that, sounds or whatever, but I was always fascinated by serial killers, crime scene investigation. I wanted to get into, the crime scene part of it. And then going to school, I had some really amazing classes that were, all about that. And then I started exploring different avenues, maybe into probation, which was totally different, but
right.
while I was up there. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to work with criminals and dead people.
Did this happen to have any coincidence with The Silence of the Lambs coming out? No, you're too young for that.
I used to be one of my favorites. I was fascinated. I wrote
Hello,
several
Clarice.
papers. Still, it was on a couple months ago, and I watched it again. Still, such a great twisted movie.
It's classic.
It is a classic. It really is.
So you end up, what's a master's take 2 years or so to get, 2 or 3 years to get a master's degree?
Yeah. And then it was 2 years. And then I stayed up there and worked on my bartending career.
A perfect segue from a master's in psychology.
Right.
And so was there anything in particular that drew you to Massachusetts, or that's just where you got your graduate degree from?
So it was actually my boyfriend at the time.
There's always a boy.
At the time, it was a boy. We were kind of talking about earlier, long distance-ish relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's how I got into law school, was because of a girl.
Oh.
So
that's
anyway,
funny.
Same
That's
thing.
Funny. Yeah, so he was in the Coast Guard in Panama City.
Right.
And we'd been dating for a couple of years, and then he was getting out of the Coast Guard, wanted to go back to school, and they, said that they'd pay for his complete tuition if he went back to his home in Massachusetts.
Right.
And so at the time, I was ready to get out of Pensacola, and I was, and that's when forensics and stuff was all still very new. And I was like, oh, there's this school in Massachusetts that does forensic psychology. Why not? And then we moved up, and we broke up maybe the first year. And then he moved back to Florida. He actually moved back to Florida, and I stayed up there for 10, 11 years.
He left your ass in the cold up there and came back to the warm.
I was like, go, get out of here. I fell in love. I absolutely fell in love with New England. It's amazing. I still love it up there. I have such great people, great pieces of my heart. And like I said, I ended up staying there for almost 11 years.
It's a cool part of the country. I don't remember that much about it, but my dad was a career Coast Guard guy. And when he and my mom got married, they were in Mobile, Alabama. And mom's first duty station with dad as a married couple was in Portland, Maine. And mom had grown up her whole life in Mobile, and she about had a freaking coronary. When the snow started covering up the first story and a half of the house for 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Yes.
And it was totally dark, and she was used to, sunshine and screen porches.
What a difference, especially Portland, Maine, where there's a lot of snow.
Yep. I feel quite sure that they would have been divorced the year after their marriage had his next duty station not been Hawaii. So that was our next duty station. He made up for it. Yep.
grace.
We went from lobster to, Hawaiian shirts and
Pineapple
lays.
pit. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So, but
Wow.
I kind of like you, when you were in the places where you were younger. I don't have that many memories because I was pretty little, but I do have a lot of memories about Hawaii. That was really cool.
That's cool.
So,
I'd like to go there.
here's the big transition for Jaynie. You go from master's degree in Massachusetts, tracking down and hunting serial killers, and then you made the discovery of what you have really excelled at. Because I'll tell you, and everybody out here who's listening who knows Jaynie already knows that she's like the best. We work with Jaynie, and we work with Pensacola Harley all the time, and we're out there at bike nights and other events that we do out there, and you're just such an amazingly awesome person to work with, and we're grateful for you and for Pensacola Harley. But so tell us then, your next jump was from Massachusetts deep into Harley, right? That was your next play, right? So tell us about that.
Yep.
I think we got one more stop before we get to Pensacola Harley, right? Okay.
So that's right. So then we go from the extreme of the East Coast, from Massachusetts to, or I guess not even really East Coast, more central Florida to Orlando. Right.
And how in the heck was it Orlando? What happened there?
So then I went to Orlando for Motorcycle Mechanics Institute to specialize in Harley mechanics.
So you are, in addition to being a badass marketer, you actually have a mechanics certificate for Harleys?
I do have a certification.
Oh my God. I thought I led a crazy life. So I know there's different levels of Harley mechanic-ness. And tell me what those are, and where are you? What's your certification level?
I was just very basic. I was just very basic. I graduated and I did great, and I came back here to Pensacola where my family was. My dad's health wasn't the best. So I tagged my sister. She moved to Atlanta, and then I moved back in and started knocking on Pensacola Harley's door for a job for initially, as a mechanic. And then they got me in. I started in parts, and then worked from parts, and then I went out to service, and then service, they pulled me into the sales to do variety. I used to sell motorcycles, then I was the sales admin, doing other stuff, and then moved on to marketing when this position opened up, and and I love it.
You were probably working back in the mechanics bay with you. I can only imagine you're one of the most upbeat, positive people that I've ever met. So I can see you back there with a bunch of old surly Harley mechanics.
Yeah. So I actually never made it back to turn wrenches. So I was when I was in service, I was, at the front being a service advisor. And I definitely would get the old guy, where's that? Give me a guy to talk to. I was actually, I do know some things, sir.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
But, and it's definitely, nowadays things are, times have definitely changed, and you have a lot more women in the field and a lot more female mechanics. And a lot of times the female mechanics pay more, better attention. They're, just in general, a lot of women pay, attention to detail and stuff. But in the beginning, it was
that's a joke for everybody because I don't pay attention. Yes, y'all definitely have much more attention to detail than we as men do. I'll give you that. So.
It was definitely, though, challenging in the beginning, but then once, you just be honest about who you are. And then, at one point, I remember even, and I had one guy threaten it, and he was mad at me because I was telling him that he wasn't taking care of his bike well and that there was problems with it. And he was taking off his vest, ready to throw down. I was like, what are you going to do? I'm just here to do my job, sir.
Just all 100 pounds of Jaynie getting into a fight over motorcycle service. Oh my God.
Don't tell somebody they're treating their motorcycle wrong.
Yeah, that's fighting words for sure.
Yeah.
And so you transitioned over into the position that you have right now, which is the marketing director for Harley in Pensacola, and thus completing the perfect circle. It's a perfect spot for you. And you probably are using your forensic psychology skills on all the people that you work with anyway.
Stay away. Just stay away. Don't go home with them.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we got, I don't know, I think we probably got 5 or 6 more minutes left, and I don't want to leave the show without talking about some stuff that's coming up at Harley. So I know that Pensacola Harley takes kind of the cold winter months off for bike nights, and we're about to start back up. Tell us about what's cranking back up. When does it happen? Who does it happen for? Give me the details.
All right. So as you mentioned, we do take the colder, not like we have a whole lot, but take a couple of colder months off. So we're ramping back up here for March. So our bike nights are going to continue on this year to be the third Thursday of the month, March through November. So our first one is on the 16th, which is actually my birthday. I'm like, happy birthday, it's bike night.
I'll have to bring you a present.
So I will bring me a present by everybody coming out to celebrate and having a kick-ass bike night. That's what I want for my birthday.
Fantastic. Y'all usually have an awesome food truck out there. Are y'all going to have live music
yes.
this year
So
again?
that's right. We will continue every month. We will have a food truck. We'll feature a different food truck. We will have a live local band. The event will be from 5 to 8. We're trying to do more things, just different things throughout the year, just so that we're not just hanging out, we've got like, for the first one for March, we're hiding some golden eggs, some leprechaun golden eggs.
Right on.
Vouchers and stuff for swag, for certain promotions, for a variety of things that we'll hide throughout the dealership. So just, again, trying to just do some other little activities. And we always appreciate you guys coming out and being a part of our bike night.
So we love having the Stevenson Klotz motorcycle safety tent out there. We try to, definitely do motorcycle safety education and talk to people about being safe, and then, what to do and what to think about if you're ever involved in any type of accident or anything. Hopefully not. But there are things to do if you are. And so, yeah, we really are grateful for the opportunity to get out there and kind of spread the word on motorcycle safety. But I know also I want to talk about, y'all have the Kick-Ass event coming up. Tell us about that.
Yes, we have. So it's our annual Spring Kick-Ass event coming up April 20th to the 23rd. Actually, I got a little flyer here.
Yep. And so y'all have a ton of vendors and food trucks and
food trucks, live music every day. We have Saturday, we'll have a car and truck show. Sunday, we'll have our bike show. We'll award trophies for all those. We will have bike night that Thursday. We'll have an indoor dice run going on that day with our local hog chapter helping out. Right. We always have free drinks every night or every day. We'll have free drinks. And then also we're doing some different contests throughout the day. On Saturday, we're going to do like a longest beard contest, who bike with the highest mileage, stuff like that, and just giving out prizes and just trying to get some interaction and just give away some stuff.
That's really cool. So we got a couple minutes left, and one of the things I wanted to cover, you guys, Aaron Shop owns y'all's business out there, and y'all have done a really good job, especially kind of during a little bit of a financial downturn and COVID and everything with your sales. And I know that, every Harley dealership has a different kind of inroad towards getting inventory. Talk to me about your inventory and what you guys have managed to accomplish here in our market.
Fortunately, like you had mentioned, we are definitely one of the dealers that were able to keep going, keep our doors open. And Aaron's amazing. He's an amazing boss to work for, and he made sure to take care of the team, the staff, try to keep everybody healthy. But we were just able to keep selling motorcycles, and because of that, we've been able to keep getting more inventory. So we're very, very, very grateful, very blessed that we do have such a large inventory of new motorcycles, and now especially too with the 23 models. For a while, they're just everywhere in the nation. Inventory on everything was tough to get. So then we even started seeing our floor with like 20 bikes on it, which was insane. But now we're back to 100 plus bikes on the floor, and it's great to see. It's exciting to see. And then now that's too really with cool. The new model year and anniversary year, it's 120th anniversary. So we've got some special anniversary bikes and just stuff going on around that too. So it's very exciting, and it's nice. It gets, definitely scary to see hardly any bikes on the floor. It's like, What is going on? What do we do? So it's nice. It's definitely refreshing.
Well, so Jaynie, I can't tell you how grateful I am that I got to spend this time getting to hear your life story and who you are and how you got plugged into the Harley community. I swear, everybody that I talk to that's in the motorcycle community, they're always such interesting, well-rounded people who have these great stories. And that's one of the things that's just so amazing about the motorcycle community. Everybody's very tight and close and, watches out for each other. And everybody just has their own story, because what I find with people who ride motorcycles, they're kind of gypsy-ish kind of wanderers and have this exploring nature that, are just really naturally curious and do really cool things in our lives. So thank you for sharing yours with us today. And thank you for taking us through everything about the Pensacola Harley Davidson dealership. I am Chris Klotz, and this is Motorcycle Hang Time. Thank you for joining on our podcast with Jaynie Seiber from Pensacola Harley Davidson here in Pensacola, Florida. Jaynie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I had a great time. I really appreciate y'all inviting me to come on the show. I had a great time.
All righty.
Thank you so much. Soon.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Motorcycle Hang Time with Chris Klotz. Go to StevensonKlotz.com to get more information about motorcycle safety issues and motorcycle law. Please leave us a rating and a review whenever you listen to your podcast. We invite you to spend time with us on our next episode.